I get a lot of questions about what kind of consistency to use for royal icing when it comes to writing. And what I have in this bowl here is a toothpaste consistency of royal icing, and the way that you get this is by adding powdered sugar to your royal icing to thicken it up. Or on the flip side, if your royal icing recipe makes a really stiff consistency, you would just add some water to thin it down. But either way, the consistency I prefer is like the one in this bowl here, where when I pull my spoon up, it's going to flop over a little bit, but it's not super stiff like I would use for florals. And if I shake it, it's going to settle a little bit, but it's not going to become a total puddle of icing like it would if it was a flood consistency. When it comes to actually writing, I prefer to use a projector. The one that I prefer is actually a children's toy. It's called the Smart Sketcher, and I have a discount code in my bio if you're interested. And this is a really great tool because then I can project any image from my computer. I generally like to create my own images using Canva, but this one here I did find off of Google. And so even though I did take calligraphy courses in college, I don't have to rely on knowing all the different fonts, and I don't have to have a really good handwriting. This video is in real time, and so it is a slow process. And when I am piping on letters, I like to use what's called pressure piping. And that just means you're changing the pressure depending on what part of the letter you're piping. And by pressure, I just mean by how much you are squeezing the bag. And so you'll have thinner lines or less pressure on the upstrokes, and then thicker lines or more pressure on the downstrokes. Generally speaking, I think that piping cursive is a lot more forgiving than a printed font. And even though it is cursive and the letters are connected, I do lift up my piping bag between most letters and take a little break and then set my bag back down to start the next letter. And this is totally a personal preference, but I have found that it's easiest when it comes to lettering to keep my hands steady by bracing my right hand with my left hand. So during this video, certain times you can kind of see peeking in my left hand is on my right palm. And I think that's most of my tips. It just takes a lot of practice and learning your icing consistencies. So much of this is just personal preference and figuring out what works best for you.